जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जन वल्लभ हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा गोविंद राधे Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaur Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivrajika Charya Stota Shatashi Srimad Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande All glories to assembled devotees All glories to assembled devotees All glories to assembled devotees All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 10, entitled Divisions of Creation, and verse number 15. आद्यस्तु महतः सर्गो गुणवैषम्यमात्मनः द्वितीयस्त्वहमो यत्र द्रव्यज्ञानाक्रियोदयः आद्यस्तु महतः सर्गो गुणवैषम्यमात्मनः द्वितीयस्त्वहमो यत्र द्रव्यज्ञानक्रियोदयः आद्यस्तु महतः सर्गो गुणवैषम्यमात्मनः द्वितीयस्त्वहमो यत्र द्रव्यज्ञानक्रियोदयः आजस्तु महतः सर्गो द्रव्यज्ञानक्रियोदयः आद्यस्तु महतः सर्गो गुणवैषम्यमात्मनः द्वितीयस्त्वहमो यत्र द्रव्यज्ञानक्रियोदयः. Would you like to try? Adyasto Mahata Sargo Guna Vaishamyam Atmanaha Dvitiyastvahamo Jatra Dravyagyana Kriyodayaha. Thank you. Word to word. Adyaha, the first. Tu, but. Mahataha, of the total emanation from the Lord. Sargaha, creation. Guna Vaishamyam, interaction of the material modes. Atmanaha, of the Supreme. Dvitiya, the second. Tu, but. Ahamaha, false ego. Yatra, wherein. Dravya, material ingredients. Jnana, material knowledge. Kriya Udayaha, awakening of activities. Work. Translation and purport by Sri Prabhupada. Of the 9 creations, the first one is the creation of Mahat Tattva, or the sum total of the material ingredients, wherein the modes interact due to the presence of the Supreme Lord. In the second, the false ego is generated, in which the material ingredients, material knowledge, and material activities arise. Purport. The first emanation from the Supreme Lord for material creation is called the Mahat Tattva. The interaction of the material modes is the cause of false identification, or the sense that a living being is made of material elements. This false ego is the cause of identifying the body and the mind with the soul proper. Material resources and the capacity and knowledge to work are all generated in the second term of creation after the Mahat Tattva. Jnana indicates the senses, which are the sources of knowledge and their controlling deities. Work entails the working organs and their controlling deities. All these are generated in the second creation. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadinyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So let's just read the verse again. Adyasto Mahata Sargo Guna Vaishamyam Atmanaha Dvitiyastvahamo Jatra Dravyagyana Kriyodayaha. Of the 9 creations, the first one is the creation of the Mahatattva, or the sum total of material ingredients, wherein the modes interact due to the presence of the Supreme Lord. In the second, the false ego is generated, in which the material ingredients, material knowledge, and material activities arise. So we welcome all of you to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. And as of now, we are studying the divisions of creation, where who is creating as of now? Krishna is creating. Sarga, the first one, first creation is by Krishna, and Visarga, the sub-creations by Brahma. So first creation is by Krishna. That's why here you can see of the 9 creation, the first one is the creation of Mahatattva, or sum total of material ingredients when the modes interact due to the presence of the Supreme Lord. Right? So, how many of you know what are the 3 modes? Sattva. Yes. So, we have 3 modes. So, initially, like what Maharaj was explaining yesterday, initially, along with Brahma Jyoti, the product you get is Pradhan. Do you remember what is Pradhan? No? Yes. It's basically there's no movement because there's no modes inside. But it becomes Mahatattva on the glance of Vishnu, because Vishnu's glance as Shambhu agitates matter. Right? So, of course, Pradhan actually becomes Mahatattva when the modes enter, the 3 modes. So, Pradhan plus the 3 modes, you get Mahatattva. And then Mahatattva, when Lord glances, then it becomes Prakriti. I mean, we'll see that later on, how it happens. But as of now, our focus for today to understand is the 3 modes, because Prabhupada is writing, the interaction of the material modes is the cause of false identification, or the sense that a living being is made of material elements. This false ego is the cause of identifying the body and mind with the soul proper. So who has this problem? Who in this world is undergoing this disease of thinking I'm this body? Everyone. Like 99.999. You can add many more nines. Everyone is having this disease. So it's another pandemic. Corona is one pandemic, which is subsiding now. But this is for all time to come, and for all time before, it's always going on. This pandemic. That I am this body, I'm not spirit soul. So in this chapter and subsequent chapters also, it is more technical. Technical means it will be not very interesting to hear. What does that mean? It means we will easily fall asleep. That means we have to give more determination. We have to be very determined to understand what we are going to hear. So if we do that, what is the fruit when you hear Srimad Bhagavatam? What is the fruit when you hear Srimad Bhagavatam? Yes. Yes. And what's the fruit if you sleep in Bhagavatam class? The whatever is there remains. Our hearts don't get cleansed. And the last one, Naistiki. Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Naistiki means very fixed. Our devotion to Krishna becomes fixed. What is the meaning of devotion becoming fixed? It means no situation of this material world can budge our devotion. It is fixed. It is not going to move. Even the sky may fall on the earth, but you will chant to 16 rounds and leave the body, something like that. So that's why it is very important to be physically present, to be mentally present. And of course, soul is always present here because it comes with body. So today I will try my best because it is technical. It is technical. But if we sleep through the class, then it's going to be, I will benefit because I am just speaking on Bhagavatam. But no one else will benefit if they sleep. So we'll get to the subject matter. Subject matter is everyone is identifying with their body. So there was a person, he had his brand new car. You can tell me a model of Mercedes, latest Mercedes. Any idea? Something which is expensive. There are E series and many different series. But the person who bought this car, it was one of the latest models, say 2022 model, very expensive car. And he bought this is in India. So he just bought it and he parked it across his apartment, opposite to his apartment. So when he parked his car, he went upstairs, and as he was going upstairs, he reached his room. Can you give it, Asan? He reached his room, And from the room, he saw that actually there were some students or some boys playing cricket. Cricket is a very famous game in India and other countries like Australia, not so much in the US. Or you can say something like baseball. They were playing something like baseball, and this person heard the shattering of windows. Immediately, he looked outside the window to see that his car, the brand new car, which was black in color, which was some sort of a SUV, or he could identify this is actually my car, and it was brand new, but the windows broke. So when the windows shattered, his heart got shattered. Immediately from 10th floor, he came all the way down. He didn't even wait for the lift, and he came down using the staircase. Immediately when he went, he saw that his car is not damaged at all. So then he saw the cars next to his car, which belonged to his neighbor, looked similar to his car. The windows of that car got smashed. So now he was relieved, right? So initially he thought this is my car, and therefore he felt his heart being shattered. Just like suppose you have a nice car, I take a key and I pull a strike on the car, on the nice paint. So you feel someone is cutting your heart using a blade, but no one is doing anything to you. It's just to your car. But till the time this man was thinking, this is my car, the windows, the car with the broken windows, this is my car, he felt devastated. As soon as he understood it was someone else's car, he didn't feel any pain anymore. Right? So this is false ego. And Prabhupada is explaining in the purport how this false ego is the cause of this false ego are the three modes: sattva, rajas, and tamas. So in this world, what is the problem with false ego? Again, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, false ego means we become foolish. Why foolish? Because we identify ourselves as matter. In this world, we don't have experience with any matter which is growing, which takes birth, which is reproducing, giving out byproducts, which is maintaining, which is taking care of one another. We don't see anything material do that. How many of you have seen two cars come together and produce a baby car? Is it possible? No. How many of you have seen two tables come and produce a small laptop table? Or two computers, two MacBook Pros coming and giving a small MacBook Air? Have you seen this happen? It never happens. It's not according to our experience. But all the PhD holders, all the postdocs, and they're all researching how, on the basic fundamental mistake that we are this body. And it makes no sense. Everyone is thinking I'm this body. And whatever solutions they are bringing out to the problems of this world is all on the basis of bodily consciousness, thinking I'm this body. So this is the power of false ego. False ego can make you look very foolish. It actually can make you act foolish. Similarly, I've seen sometimes when I would write exams, especially mathematics. So we would have a question paper and I would try to copy the numbers mentioned in the question back to write the answer on the answer sheet. So when I would do this, sometimes I would copy the numbers wrong. So if the numbers mentioned were 15 and 25, so I would misread it as 16 and 25. So even if the process is correct, ultimately the answer is wrong. You understood this? So similarly, this whole world they are actually thinking, I am this body, and the goal of life is to satisfy the body. That's the basic fundamental mistake. And all the solutions they are building, just like you have an improper foundation and you're building a tall skyscraper, and all it takes is a blow of a wind to destroy the building, isn't it? Because the foundation itself is not strong. So similarly, everyone in this world is researching solutions to the problems of life based on this wrong understanding that I'm this body. So that's what Prabhupada is actually saying here. This is the problem with false ego that actually makes us look very foolish. And the cause of the false ego is the interaction of the material modes. What happens when the material modes interact? You know, there's so many colors. Anyone knows how many colors are there in this world? Total number of colors? That's a basic. Yeah, I was coming to that. But number of colors are infinite because you always get a gradient and you can always have different intensities. But everything, all the colors in this world are produced by three basic colors, which are, anyone knows? Yeah, red, green, and blue. So you have these three colors, you can give color to the entire world. All the colors come from these three. How is that possible? By varying the intensities. You increase red, reduce green and blue. Then, sorry, it's not green. It's RGB. I had studied RGB, red, green, blue. Either way, anyway, the principle stays the same. The three colors. Right. Well, we'll stick to the principle that these three colors, you mix these three colors, then you get remaining all the other colors by varying the intensities. If you increase red, reduce the other two, you get off a reddish texture, but also has flavor of the other colors. So you get a particular color. In web designing, every color has a code. If you study web designing or HTML, you see that, or CSS. So the thing is, similarly in this world, there's so much of variety. And the thing is, all this variety is simply a product of the combination of the three modes. And what do we get attracted to? That is also in match with, suppose I am very tamasic, I am in mode of ignorance. Then I get attracted to a place that is in mode of ignorance, food that is in mode of ignorance, or people who are in mode of ignorance. And usually conflict, even amongst devotees, happen when there are devotees who are in mode of ignorance and devotees who are in mode of goodness. One devotee wants to sleep late, other one wants to sleep early. So ignorance and sattva, always there's a conflict, isn't it? So there's always a battle going on. Even asuras and the suras, angels and the demons, they also fight. The demigods and the demons, they also fight with one another because one is representing goodness and other is representing tamas, ignorance. So we see the whole thing in everything in this material world is based on the modes. And Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Urdvam gachanti sattvastha madhye tishtanti rajasa jaganya guna vrittistha adho gachanti tamasa. Krishna is telling how the different destination of a yogi is also dependent on these three modes. Anyone knows the translation to this? Not the exact translation, but can anyone translate? Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha means those who are in the mode of goodness, they travel upwards. Those who are in the passionate mode, they remain in this world because they want to do activity. So they remain in this world. And those who are tamasic, they travel downwards. Of course, I heard somewhere else that Jaganya Guna Vrittistha, Jaganya Guna Vritta means the attraction towards pleasure between the thighs, that is sex pleasure. They also go downward. That's another translation of Jaganya Guna Vritta. So anyway, the thing is, and also we can see in this world, most of the people, the fascination, or as Prabhupada says, the whole material world is revolving. Earth is revolving just because there is sex life. Otherwise, there's no point of material creation. Isn't it? So everyone where is attraction? Attraction is Jaganya Guna Vritta, sex pleasure. Means what? Everyone's consciousness is on the platform of ignorance. But if we have to transcend material world, then at least we have to come to the goodness, not even passion. We have to go beyond. Whenever Prabhupada writes in the purports, lower modes, what does it mean? Passion and ignorance. Sometimes people feel that passion is good. Passion is good, but it should again be driven by sattva, by goodness. Because without passion, you cannot act. You need passion, but driven by goodness. What is passion driven by ignorance? Yeah.
One example is given of you have a gas tank tank and you have the valve, the thing that doesn't let all the gas just go up, so it controls the energy.
Right. Okay. Regulator. Correct. Okay, that is true. But I'm asking, what is passion driven by ignorance? Passion driven by goodness is like Rajarishi. He's like a king, like Yudhishthir, like Lord Ram. Of course, Lord Ram is Supreme Person of Godhead. But from another point of view, we can understand Lord Ram is acting as a king, and he has guru like Vasishtha and Vishwamitra, who are supposed to be in goodness. So, what is passion driven by ignorance?
No
Okay.
guru, no guru, no,
Okay.
no senior brahmana or something like that.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Being independent, I would say that is just passionate. Passionate driven by ignorance. There's a particular characteristic. Yeah. Sorry. Lust. Okay. Good. Yeah. You can give me some real world examples, not the qualities. Greed, lust, these are all just qualities. You have to give me real world example. I gave you example of passion driven by goodness as King Yudhishthir. Can you give me an example, passion driven by ignorance, even from our contemporary times? Yes. I won't speak in the mic. How is he? He's driven by ignorance. How can you say he's driven by ignorance? I have to explain.
Because he's trying to accumulate more material. Obviously, he's very passionate because he's able to create this big organizations, this big corporation. The guy that share by ignorance because he's trying to spend more and more and more and more.
Okay, we can see that. Usually, passion driven by ignorance are like terrorists. They have a lot of passion, but because they don't have the right intelligence, they're driven by ignorance, means they cause violence. They become mad. So they have passion, but it's used in wrong direction. Terrorist, and we know Hitler. We know so many people who actually cause so much of violence, even now going on Russia, Ukraine, isn't it? That's passion driven by ignorance. So therefore, we need passion. Of course, you have the three circles. Set A, you know the set theory from mathematics. Set A is goodness. Set B is passion, and set C is ignorance. And all these three sets are overlapping one another. So you have only goodness. You can be only goodness, like saintly people are goodness. Only passionate, or you can be a mix of passion and goodness. Passion of a mix of passion, ignorance. Mix of ignorance is goodness is very rare. It's very tough, you know. Or you can be just in sleeping. That's also sometimes goodness and ignorance, because goodness can lead to ignorance. Sukham and jnanam. Too much knowledge will actually make you lazy. You don't want to study more, or too much happiness. You become very complacent. You don't want to serve more. So it leads to ignorance, like that. So there are different things you can.
Is tamas ever good, like at the time of sleeping?
Yeah, tamas is good only at the time of sleeping. That's why it's very important that we get good rest, because you exhaust the tamas there. And it's good it's very important that we do some work so the passion is exhausted. Then what do you have? Goodness. When you have only goodness, you can utilize to study scriptures. But you don't exhaust ignorance and passion, then when you sit for studying, then ignorance takes over. You feel sleepy. Or your mind is too agitated to focus on what you're reading, because passion takes over. That's why ignorance has to be exhausted in the way it should be, by sleeping, and passion has to be exhausted through services. And if people don't do services, they do gym, isn't it? So therefore, these three are there. The other two low modes we do have, but there's a right way of exhausting them in Krishna service, through in service to Krishna. And when we are on the platform of goodness, things become very clear. Things become very clear means you can see things as they are. Like the example is given, if you have to proceed to the mode of transcendence, pure goodness. What is pure goodness is not tinged by ignorance and passion. How is that? You have to at least come to mode of sattva. Then we can come to the mode of shuddha sattva. It's just like going to an airport. Going to airport is goodness. climbing the flight and transcending the material world. That is pure goodness. So if someone says that no, it's becoming very difficult for me to go beyond passion ignorance, then he has to do something. He needs to learn, understand how to exhaust passion ignorance, because it's not possible to go to pure goodness from passion ignorance. It's not possible. He has to come to goodness. That's how it works.
Are there other ways to exhaust passion other than seva?
Of course, I mean, people outside are working, like gym. Many people tell me, yeah.
Would devotees support that, like to going to the gym and working there, take care?
Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes it's okay, but if you have limited time, like human form of life, we have very limited time. So better whatever you can do in gym, if you can do service, like cleaning the floor and lifting big things. I mean, there's some nice renovation going on, or cleaning pots. Then automatically your bodybuilding also happens, or your exercise happens, and you're actually doing service to Krishna. So it's like it's two birds in one shot, as the materialists say. Like that. So therefore, we have to try to work on coming to the platform of goodness. And how is that possible? Okay. Yes. Maharaj gives the ultimate answer. Yes. Yes.
We have to clear out the mind, because one can do devotional service, one can chant in the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance also. That was mysterious when we first read that. It's in Kapila's teachings. So, but it's not that the holy name or the service is in the mode of ignorance, but we can be.
Yes, very true.
I want it, what will I get for this? You know, some devotees come and cook for pay. Sometimes they come in the back door, they cook, and they go out. But they're initiated Brahmins, so they think they should be cooking, you know? And they have to have money. They do arti for money, so then it's not pure. Ignorance is, you know. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Yeah.
Well, then if you are in ignorance, you can't just jump straight to goodness, can you? Or you have to go through
Okay, we'll
passion.
come to that question after this question. How do we come to the mode of goodness? Maharaj gave some answers. Anyone else would like to try? If we don't know how to come to mode of goodness, it's yeah. Yes. Very true. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why. Yes. Yes. Very true. What Maharaj is saying is we need to understand what the three modes are. So Krishna very beautifully explains in 14th chapter and later also in 17th chapter. In 14th chapter, he explains the characteristics of the modes, whereas in 17th chapter, he explains he explains everything practically in this world, which can be categorized in three modes. Right? So 14th chapter, Krishna says the symptoms of the mode of goodness is sukham and jnanam. Is that when you do it, when you're in mode of goodness, the activities, when you perform activities, you always gain knowledge, you're looking for knowledge, and you're happy. Sukham and jnanam. And mode of passion, they're characterized by another two things. Anyone knows? Sangha and Trishna. Sangha means association of opposite sex, and Trishna means hankering for more and more. That is passion. If you are a millionaire, it's not sufficient. You want to be a billionaire. then multi-billionaire, then you want to own properties, then you want to climb the ladder. People have to salute you. So you cannot, you just want to keep climbing the ladder of success. And when you're at the top, you see still there is no happiness and people commit suicide. It's like that. So that is passion. You want more and more. Sangha and Trishna. And then good ignorance. Yeah.
Can you just clarify Sangha? I thought that was like community, but you're saying it's opposite sex.
In this verse in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains it as attachment to opposite sex. Generally, Sangha is our association of devotees when we refer, but different words in Sanskrit can have different meanings based on context. Like that. And then ignorance is characterized by pramad, alasya, and nidra. Sleep. Nidra is sleep. Alasya is laziness. Laziness for services. And pramad is mad. Why mad? People go mad by taking intoxication. Right? So like this is all characterized by ignorance. So we see how do we come to the platform of goodness, to go to the platform of transcendence or pure goodness, is that we associate. The key word here is association. Why? The way we associate, Krishna tells, I mean, it's said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Karanam, this is again, sorry, Bhagavad Gita, Karanam Guna Sangosya, Sadda Sadyoni Janmasu. So there are 84 lakh species or 8.4 million species, and there are so many different types of species or bodies available based everything on the modes. Based everything on the modes. So if someone is in ignorance, he only likes to sleep all day. So Krishna says, why are you wasting a human form of life? You get a polar bear's body which sleeps 6 months a year. 6 months straight. Whereas if someone likes to eat meat, very passionate and ignorance, both mixed. So then why the human body is not meant for it? And these are the type of desires you have. So you take a tiger's body. And people today also, they don't like to wear clothes. They like to remain naked. You will see in Times Square as summer hits. So what body Krishna gives them? Trees. So one student in one university asked, why only tree? Why not animal? Because animals also don't wear clothes. So the answer is it's because people, especially people who are very lusty, it's good for them to be stationed in one place like tree. If they move, they cause trouble to others. That's why. So if we see, if we associate, the association we have is the key to advance or come to the platform of goodness. That means the type of food we eat. Even prasadam, that also, prasadam is always transcendental, but we only perceive it according to our consciousness. So it's very important the type of food we eat should also be sattvic to come to the mode of goodness. The type of friends we have, they also have to be sattvic, right? Or the habits we have should be sattvic. The lifestyle, the sleeping habits, it should be regulated. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So your eating, your recreation, your work and sleeping, everything have to be regulated. So you cannot say, sir, I actually sleep every day, midnight, 12 o'clock and get up at 6 a.m. That's not, though it seems to be regulated, but it's not proper. It's more on tamas or rajas. Sattva means you have to sleep 9, get up at 3. That is sattva. Whereas ignorance and passion, you push it. Like how many of you have had this experience? You have so many things to do during the day, but because you get, your mind gets preoccupied by so many other things, the important things remain for at night. Then you start doing everything at night, 10 p.m. Everyone has this experience, and I have. That means the mind is in passion. So it's just everywhere, just across the place, it's not focused. There's no vyavasayatmika buddhi. So we see Krishna actually explains very nicely in the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the type of food we eat and all our good habits. And he characterizes everything in goodness, passion, and ignorance, just so that we know what to associate and how to cultivate mode of goodness. And if Krishna is speaking so much and he's dedicating a chapter to it, you can understand the importance of it, isn't it? Because if we don't come to the platform of goodness, there's no question of coming to the platform of pure goodness. Therefore, in our Krishna consciousness, we have activities which are transcendent by nature, but like Maharaj mentioned, it can always be performed in three ways. It can be performed in a tamasic way, it can be performed rajasic way, or it can be performed in a goodness way. And Kapila Muni very nicely explains in third canto Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service in three modes. It is there. Let me see. It's in the other book, it's not in this, I think. In part 2, volume 2 of third canto. So if we are looking for name and fame in devotional service, it's passion. Right? So I mean, it's better given. I don't know how to search for it. Anyone knows the verse for devotional service in three modes? The devotional service in three modes, which Kapila Muni explains. What some keyword to? Oh, yeah. So anyway, he explains. Yes. Yeah.
Chapter 17, Krishna very clearly says,
Yes. Yes. So that's the key. Can you give mic?
You know, do things for some material gain.
Yeah.
That would be mode of passion. Mode of ignorance, a little hard to figure out, but it's all right there, you know.
Mm.
You give charity at the wrong time to the wrong person, you know, then it's a mode of ignorance. If you give charity because you're going to get something back, because you're going to get a good reputation, because somebody will, you know, that works in business. I have a charity, so if you donate to my charity, then I'll do business with your company. Otherwise, I won't. See? So both are thinking. In Bombay, when I was first there, men would come to become. They want to be a life member, but they say, "Do you have a guest house in Paris? Do you have a guest house in London? Can we stay?" And then they would be calculating how much money they would save, you know, by being a life member and having 3 days free. And I said, I want to be a life member. But that was Prabhupada's trick. So you take advantage of their mentality. Then they would stay at the temple, they would eat prasadam, and then they get purified.
Yes.
It was a clever thing, actually. But, you know, they did, many joined just for that reason. Yeah. So
Thank you.
anyway, the Bhagavad Gita 17 gives very clear examples.
Yeah, so if we can just refer to 17th chapter, and then if we apply, we can easily come to the mode of goodness. Why we are speaking all this? Because once we have purified from lower modes, as we are proceeding towards higher mode as our prominent mode, things become very clear, and the path of devotional service also becomes clear. And following it also becomes very easy as we go on. And once the modes are, you know, taken care, and the modes give rise to false ego, Prabhupada is saying. So when the false ego is there in this world, everyone is facing problems based on the type of false ego they have. Right? Now, if someone thinks I am a great artist, now if you ask him, if someone insults him, you are very bad at maths, he doesn't care, because his identity is that I am an artist, isn't it? But if someone says you are a worst artist, that will hurt him. Right? You're not a very good artist. If you tell an artist you're not a good artist, that will hurt him. Whereas if you tell him you are bad at maths, he doesn't care. Because what do we identify with? If I say I'm a brahmachari and someone says you are a loose brahmachari, that pinches the heart. Right? But if someone who doesn't care about brahmacharya, you tell him you're a loose brahmachari, he doesn't mind. Because that's not his identity. That's not what he's identifying with. So therefore, the type of false ego we have, and we have false ego, our identity based on several things in this world. Ultimately, you know, the fundamental is bodily consciousness, but that can root out in different forms. We have multiple identities. One can think I'm a very successful person in this world. I'm the smartest man on earth. I am the best husband anyone can have. I'm the best son. So we have multiple identities like this, and wherever we have identity, false identities like this, that those are the places where we are going to face troubles in life. That's where the dualities come in. So if someone says you're the smartest and you're thinking I'm the smartest, then what happens? You become happy. Someone says you're not so smart, then you become sad. So there's duality, right? So now if we purify the modes, then we purify false ego also. Because from goodness, you can go to pure goodness. Then what is the ego? From false ego, you can go to true ego. And what is the true ego? Jivera Swarup Krishna Nityadas. See? So as soon as we practice devotional service, we want to come to that platform. So as of now, we do have false ego, but through intelligence, we want to conquer it. How? We want to practice the right process, come to the mode of goodness and proceed towards mode of pure goodness. We want to go to pure goodness. So now if someone says, Prabhu, you are not so good at this service, should we get hurt? What should we do? How should we respond?
We should accept the instruction and try our best to become better at the service.
Yes, of course we can just think let me try my best. Because what can we do from our side? Only do our best. Do your best and leave the rest to God. That's our principle. So you just do your best, and if then someone will insult you and someone will glorify you, it doesn't matter. I have seen even the best speakers, best scholars of Srimad Bhagavatam, they also get criticisms. And people praise them also. But they don't care. They are just going headlong. What Prabhupada said, dogs will bark, but the caravan must go on. So people will say 1,000 things. But we should be just sticking to our devotional service and going ahead. And that's how it works. Because we do have false ego, but we cannot succumb to the temptations produced by the ego. Someone criticizes us, says something to us, someone glorifies us, we should not get distracted by both. If you get distracted by praise, that means you will get distracted by criticism. So you cannot say, I only want praise and I don't want. It's like a coin. You have the heads, you get the tails. That's how everything works in the material world. You accept one thing, other thing comes free of cost. So best is, don't purchase anything from the material world. Prahlad Maharaj says, the best way to be happy in the material world is to not look for happiness. That's how you can be best be happy in this world. Not look for happiness means what? Look only for spiritual happiness. Don't look for happiness from the objects of this world. Right? So like that, we keep practicing devotional service day after day, month after month, year after year, decade after decade, lifetime after lifetime. And then in no time, we will find ourselves in spiritual world. Why do I say lifetime after lifetime? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also prayed. Because we don't so much care that we go back to Godhead. Not that it's a problem, but we don't care so much. We care more for service. We care more for association of devotees. When Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, all of them were asked, what do you want? They only ask for association of devotees. Right? So in this way, we understand, we simply practice Krishna consciousness to keep serving Sri Prabhupada, to keep serving devotees, and that's already our life is perfect. Only thing is, we don't know it's perfect. We think perfection is coming ahead. But the point is, in bhakti, the goal and the path is same. Goal, you get gold coin, and on the path, you're walking on road made of gold. It's the same thing. So I'll end here. If there are any questions, we can take questions or comments or corrections.
What are the examples of people practicing in the different modes? Because I know there's Dhruva Maharaj, who was practicing devotional service in the mode of passion. What are the other examples of someone in goodness and someone in ignorance? Is that there?
If I can actually see devotional service in ignorance, and if you can tell me what are the symptoms of devotional service in goodness and ignorance. I mean, I forget, it is there in Kapila Muni section.
I heard before Dhruva Maharaj,
there is one
else.
example of that Aditi or Diti. she wanted to kill the demigod. She wanted the process, like she satisfied Kashyapa. She was very nicely taking care of him, just because she wanted to satisfy and have him give her a child, a boon for a child which can kill the Indra. But Kashyapa Muni is also intelligent. He gave her devotional service process. So then she became purified. And even the baby who were born, they were all devotees. So I think that can come under ignorance, devotional service in ignorance, because the goal is characterized by ignorance. It's neither passion nor goodness. Maybe, that's what I guess.
And in goodness, we have Prahlad Maharaj, but that
I
was
think
pure goodness.
most are goodness. Many are goodness. You can say even the Narada boy, he was also in goodness. Narada boy is the previous lifetime of Narada Muni. He was also in goodness.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
One thing that I seen and I heard from senior devotees is to help one get regulated, get into the mode of goodness, somewhat into the mode of goodness, is keeping a schedule the day before and then following the schedule the next day. And I heard this from Vaisheshika Prabhu. I heard even Srila Prabhupada, he would keep a little notebook, a tiny one, and he'll write down things that he has to accomplish. One was abandon prostitution or something like that. Make the prime minister, all the people in India, all the political people, make them all chant Hare Krishna every day.
Right.
So by writing down a plan and then executing it, I seen that helps to be a little more regulated. And then I have another comment. You were mentioning, Prabhu, about how this whole world is moving according to sex desire. That's the whole reason why things are going on. And that's the main drive. In one lecture, Srila Prabhupada says, attention engaged in the service of the Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtan and spiritual instructions from scriptures, can only save the common man from the hellish cinema attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere by the radios. So that quote from Srila Prabhupada's lecture, I really like it because he's saying, what could we do to save ourselves from the thing that everyone's looking for?
Yes.
By engaging in service.
Actually, I've seen anywhere you go in this, especially in the West, of course, now it's in India also, anywhere you go, the songs, everything is all about sex life. And I've seen today, if you go to Washington Square Park, what type of paintings they have. It's all the lower parts, Jaganya Guna Vrittastha. So if everyone's consciousness is only about thinking of the lower parts, the lower holes, then of course they're going traveling downwards, either in species or in hellish planets. Isn't it? Now, they're not even passionate. Passion is at least easily to dovetail. They're simply ignorant. Just gross ignorance. That's an unfortunate situation.
Prabhu, I wanted to ask about example. You mentioned earlier how goodness can lead to ignorance. Right? An example of too much goodness can lead to ignorance.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. So one is knowledge. When one has too much knowledge, he becomes proud, through which he becomes passionate, and gradually it leads to ignorance. And sukham is happiness. So sometimes we see those devotees who are happy in devotional service, they don't take step to go out and preach. They're satisfied in devotional service. So that leads to complacency, which again comes to ignorance. They become lazy. Why? Because in this material world, everything is downward pulling. So you have knowledge, immediately pride can pull you if you're not humble enough. If you're not studying Shastra regularly, immediately pride is pulling you. Once you're proud, ignorance is pulling you downward. Thinking you're better than everyone than you. If anyone else is speaking better than you, giving more knowledge than you, is more knowledgeable than you, then automatically you go to ignorance, where it is envy comes. Whereas sukham, you're happy, but there's always something pulling you down, that you can become complacent. You can think, why other devotees are there? Let me just chant in the temple hall. You can think like that. So automatically the ignorant quality of laziness is pulling you down. Then once you become fully lazy, you won't even come to temple hall. You'll be upstairs sleeping in the room. That's how. So in this world, everything is downward pulling. So even if someone has that quality, one has to maintain it by keep on regular association with mode of goodness and fired up devotees. Otherwise, the modes are just going up and down. Today you can be in goodness, tomorrow again passion ignorance will hit. Isn't it? And you wanted example for them? This is example or no? You want some real time?
I think that's a good example.
Okay.
So, because from following from that, you answered the other question I had, which was, how can we avoid the downward pull, which is good association and constant.
My spiritual master says in one lecture how this material world is like trying to practice spiritual life in material world is compared to swimming upstream. So even if you don't do anything, you're going downstream by default. So you have to be constantly swimming upstream, constantly putting endeavor in devotional service. That means there has to be some amount of austerities, some amount of whatever services. You have to invest hard in those services. What type of preaching mission are we involved in? So there has to be struggle in devotional service. And if there's no struggle in devotional service, then it's not. Then you're going little down, you're not doing much. You have to feel the struggle. If you're in the material world, suppose we are all brahmacharis, now people in the material world, they all struggle a lot, right? They all struggle very much. Or when we come to devotional service, we think, oh, now finally we have entered temple, now we don't have to do anything. It's not like that. If we don't do anything, we'll again go back to material world because the mind will pull you back. So there has to be some amount of struggle. That struggle to develop love for Krishna. Now here, no one can say I have 150%. So much love for Krishna is overflowing. Can anyone say I have so much love for Krishna here? No one can say. So why not struggle? Unless you are a pure devotee, you have all the love for Krishna. If you don't have, it's better to struggle. There's someone's WhatsApp status. Sundarnath Prabhu's WhatsApp status is better to struggle in chanting than to struggle in the 8.4 million species. Isn't it? So we have to struggle.
So I was thinking, Madhavendra Prabhu, he said something about this, how when we are in devotional service, we're like warriors, right? It's like a martial arts battle to the death with our mind, right? And so he said that it's a very intense battle, very intense struggle. But the more we do it, right, Krishna gets pleased. So it's very blissful. It's a very blissful struggle, right? You have to struggle, but it's very blissful.
It's very blissful, yes. Like similarly, someone asked my spiritual master that Maharaj, in this world, we are seeing that people are lamenting, they are struggling. There's so many turmoils going on in this world. But when you go to spiritual world, Yashodama is also taking headache for Krishna. She is also trying to chase Krishna, tie Krishna, and Krishna is giving so much trouble. So same thing. But my spiritual master said it's not the same thing. Because whatever emotion is there in the spiritual world, it's on the absolute platform. It's completely transcendental. It's like even if you're sad, that sadness is giving you fulfillment and happiness. If you're happy, easy to understand. But if you're sad, if you're in separation from Krishna, or if another gopi is doing better than you, pleasing Krishna better than you, so you become a little envious. It's a spiritual quality in the spiritual world. So that envy is also giving happiness to you. Everything gives happiness. Whereas in the material world, you become lonely. That won't give happiness. You become envious of others. It will burn you inside. You become jealous. You become hateful. It is actually destroying you. Isn't it? So it's like that. That makes sense? So there's one more thing here. This is devotional service in 3 modes. Very important. That's why, let me tell you. This comes in 3rd canto, 29th chapter, 8th verse onwards. So this is mode in devotional service performed in the mode of ignorance. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent and angry. Like if you tell Prabhu, can you please move your bedding there? Why I should move? Why you don't move? For no reason they will become angry. I'm not saying, Kapila Muni is saying. And who is a separatist, who cannot cooperate, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. This is devotional service in mode of darkness. It's possible. See, violent, angry, envious, proud. Why I should come to class? I already know everything. But when I'm giving class, why other people are sitting in my class? Like that. Okay, so second one is in mode of passion, devotion mode of passion. The worship of the deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment. Means you do puja, but you're seeing that who is giving donation, why they're not giving donation. Or if I have to dress the deities, I only dress the Radha Krishna, I don't dress other deities. There's so many mentalities of pujaris. So fame and opulence, that do I get enough recognition? Will someone say, oh Prabhu, you did such nice decoration today? Am I looking for appreciation in service? It's passion. Am I looking for opulence? Means you do nice service with the expectation that people will give you some award. It can be either praise, it can be some money, right? All this comes in mode of passion, devotion mode of passion. After goodness, you can ask question. Yeah. When a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the results of his activities in order to free himself from the inebriaties of fruitive activities, means he wants to go beyond karma. Basically, he wants to go beyond fruitive mentality. He doesn't want anything back. Just in Nishkam Karma Yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga, you do Karma Yoga, but without any expectation. Whatever is said, you do. That is Nishkam Karma Yoga. Why Karma Yoga? Karma Yoga means you do activity which is pleasing to Krishna. Then only becomes Karma Yoga. If you do activity, Nishkam Karma, means you do activities, but but it is not in connection with Krishna, then it is no more yoga. It's like that. So it's like more Nishkam Karma Yoga is devotion in mode of goodness. So at least we have to be here. So if I tell you, Prabhu, can you please clean the temple hall? No problem. Why is Nishkam Karma Yoga? Not that you have a liking, you don't necessarily have to have a liking towards it, but you do it because it's devotion mode of goodness. Service to Krishna, but you do it because you have been asked to, even though you don't like it. Doesn't matter. You want to ask a question? No? That makes sense? This is very important. It is 3:29, 8, 9, 10.
Thank you for a nice lecture. I agree with everything that you say, so I have no question to ask.
Oh, thank you. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.